Okay, Sisters fans, this is the review from last night's episode, the penultimate episode of Season 4, Episode 21, The Last Word. 7 out of 10, but when I think about it a little more, I do feel like that score is a bit too high, but I don't feel like re-ranking it. So, had a good time talking about the episode during the live last night, but there really isn't much to discuss. It just seems like this was somewhat of another character is going to talk about what they plan to do to another character in a future episode kind of thing. It wasn't bad, but I don't know. I think last week was probably better, but here we go. I will do a separate video about the Karen stuff, but even I'm just like, I'm getting sick of talking about this shit. But it gets the views, so I really don't have a choice. Fatima lets it be known that Zach is her man, and Karen just won't take a hint, and they just have their back and forth. Zach wants to leave the situation and take Fatima with him, but she makes it clear, no, this is my house. You just popping up here unannounced. This ain't going to fly. And there was a moment where it looked like Karen was putting her purse down like she wanted to throw down or something. And in the midst of their back and forth, that's when Heather comes up with the baby claiming it's Zach's. And ironically enough, the episode review is the last thing I'm recording right now. I've done a multitude of other videos about theories and discussion points, so I'm kind of flying past this stuff. But Heather reveals that her stripper name is Destiny, and that's how Zach knows her. Apparently, he went to the strip club one night. He was really mad at Karen, and then they were in the VIP room, according to Zach, which he kind of let slip out. And they had drunk sex. Apparently, Zach was always talking about Karen, and Karen got in her feelings and left because it was like this was the quote-unquote wake-up call she needed to realize, okay, this is stupid. You're still the same guy. Good luck with this, Fatima, because this is the kind of thing you're going to have to deal with. And I'm like, this mirrors when Zach showed up to Karen's in season 1, outside of the apartment, and Aaron was there. And she literally tore Zach down to the point where this man was in tears in front of Aaron. And Aaron Zach told Aaron, "You see what she does? You see how she talks to me? You see how she does me? This is what's going to happen to you." So it's an interesting comparison there. But regardless, Karen finally gets in her car and leaves. And Fatima is, livid about the fact that, oh wow, so you do remember this. And I'm thinking, well, the Karen situation, I can understand being upset, but the Heather thing, this is long before you, Fatima, so what are you getting pissed about? So from there, she goes in the house, and Heather's like, well, I drove by. I was going to come by in the morning, but I saw you standing out here, and you thought it would be a good time to stop and introduce yourself and potentially his son in the midst of Zach having a heated argument, being in the middle of a heated debate with two other black women. I mean, now you thought was a good time to stop by, Heather? Really? But regardless, she is agreeable in the sense that, hey, if you want a DNA test, we'll get it. But this is your son. I know it. I hired a private investigator to find you for me. So it's just one of those things where it kind of really doesn't make much of any sense. And from there, we actually get to the point where Zach is just like, oh my God. And you got to feel for the guy because things are just piling up for him. Bayo and Sabrina go back to her apartment, and he likes the fact that she's a modest woman, and she's just so awkward about the night because it didn't go well at all. And he can't even get a goodbye kiss from her, and he gets ready to leave as Danny comes in, ironically enough, the person that he couldn't stop talking about. So there's this brief scene where Danny asks a bunch of questions about, the Logan situation. And it's kind of funny because Sabrina's date was ruined because Bayo wouldn't stop talking about Danny. And then you have Danny's night ruined because Logan couldn't associate himself with Sabrina and was asking all kinds of questions about her. So I guess it means that Bayo wasn't the reason that Logan got up and left, it was more to do with Sabrina. I don't know. But the thing is, Danny started asking a bunch of questions about if Sabrina's doing any kind of shady stuff at the bank. And, Logan was asking all these kind of questions and whatnot. What do you say? Well, I don't know. He just said to be careful. And I'm thinking, but didn't Logan also tell Danny to suggest to Sabrina that she should get a lawyer? I mean, I feel like that may have helped put Sabrina's mind at ease to know that even if something happens to me at the bank, then I at least have this strategy in my back pocket to hopefully clear my name. But Danny didn't say any of that. And then from there, Danny sent on her way home. So Karen rolls to the penthouse. I'll probably do another video on this, but she's just blah, 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 blah. Zach, 3 years, I did all this, It's the same old tune, And I think the standout moment is the fact that not only does she refuse to recognize that Andy and Fatima are friends, but she just goes on to say, no, I'm your friend. I've been here longer. She's your assistant. And a lot of people are like, Andy doesn't defend Fatima. First of all, Fatima clearly doesn't need Andy to defend her. But I think Andy needs to make it at least clear, Fatima's my friend as well. It's the fact that the way you talk about her is the same way I won't let her talk about you. Well, I don't know if she would say all that, but it's the fact that Fatima is not just my assistant, she's my friend, and you need to calm down. I feel like that would have been a good line, but it is what it is. So basically she breaks down over the situation, the fact that, I went over there, I made a fool of myself, this woman came, apparently they were sleeping together while me and Zach were together, and she has this boy that she claims is the son, and I don't know. Andy tries to say, we'll make it through this, yada, yada, yada. Again, I'm not trying to half-ass it, but based on the preview, and we know what these characters are going to say, but she notices that Andy is, apparently packing stuff up. And when I watched the episode, I missed this line of dialogue, but I think she got a phone call to let Karen get buzzed up, and she says, let me pack up this stuff so I can leave. Because I was wondering, why the hell is Andy back at the penthouse? Didn't she leave last week? But basically, from there she talks about how Gary, that building over there, he was watching me with a telescope, and my apartment doesn't have anything, so can I stay at your place? And it's like, are you mad at me? Yes, I don't like you right now, but I do need you. And I'm thinking, why the hell do you not like Andy? Is it because of the whole she's connected to Fatima thing? Karen is a toxic ass friend. She's as bad with Andy as she was with Zach. In her mind, I spent 3 years with Zach. I'm owed something. I've been your friend longer than Fatima has. Your loyalty belongs to me, not her. And she dictates when Karen is an awful person. She really is. But strangely enough, I feel like this is where the episode was kind of lacking. We just skip over to the next morning, and I feel like there were a lot of things missing, so did Karen call Aaron off screen and cancel their ice cream and pickle date or something? Or did Fatima leave Zach's place that night before she went home? Did she stay the night at Zach's? Because the next scene is when it's morning and Zach knocks on the door, has the key, and comes into Fatima's apartment. It feels like we just skipped a whole lot of stuff that would have been great information for what's to come, the next day in the timeline. But Zach comes over and, Fatima confronts him about whether or not he's really changed from that guy he was back in the day. Obviously still pissed off about the baby mama drama that went down last night. She makes it clear, look, I'm with you, I'm riding with you, but I'm not here for all this drama. The way that Karen popped up, then the baby mama, you got to nip that in the bud. And Zach was justified in the way he kind of snapped back at Fatima, the fact that, look, I want to get a DNA test. Well, that's not the only thing you need to get tested. Somebody on Twitter just said, well, Jeremy, maybe she's referring to Karen. Nah, I think that Fatima was almost insinuating that he needs to get an STD test or whatever. And I'm just like, the thing about Zatima as a couple that throws me off is it isn't until usually after they have amazing sex that Fatima either begins to doubt their relationship or she just starts acting a bit out of character. Now, I'm not saying Fatima wasn't right to be upset after the events of last night, but she's making it seem like the sins of Zach's past catching up to him in the present dictates the person he is that she knows in the present. You know, like she's acting like Heather Lee Jennings was somebody that he slept with 3 days ago, you know? So it's like, nah, I mean, your anger doesn't seem to be as justified as, let's say, a Karen finding out that, wait, so while we were together, you were sleeping with this person and you got her knocked up? But it's kind of weird because, I mean, you were clearly sleeping with guys whenever Zach wasn't acting right. And going back to that first scene with Heather, it's funny how Karen overreacted like, wait, you know my name? He was talking about me when he was messing around with some stripper? But it's kind of weird if you go back to the ending of season 2. Karen's whole thing was she was upset that I can't believe he never said my name. In terms of, I can't believe Zach never told Fatima about me or my name when he was with her. That's weird. But regardless, it's a situation where Zach ain't having it. He's like, look, I'm tired of the disrespect. Y'all keep throwing in my face who I was. If y'all want me to go back there, I will, but I got a lot more money. Being like, if you want me to be that dude I was in the past, I'll be that dude. But basically meaning I got money now, meaning that he'll be a lot more reckless. But, you know, Fatima's about to get ready to go to work. But I think what would have made this scene better is if Fatima put her foot down saying, look, I'm not getting rid of my apartment after everything that went down last night. I do need to have my space. So, you know, the whole moving in thing, we could still do that, but I'm still going to have my place in my back pocket. And, you know, it's the fact that that would have made more sense than her having somewhat of an irrational reaction to last night's events. That's just my opinion. So she leaves to go to work, but not before Zach wants to somewhat tell her about what happened last night, you know, in regards to the phone call he got, but he doesn't say it just now. In the moment. So Fatima leaves without kissing him, saying, you've had plenty. And it's like, well, damn, Fatima. But then he gets a text from Tony saying that you have 1 hour to come by the hotel. I'm growing impatient. So Karen and Andy are over at Karen's house. Karen apologizes for how she acted the night before or last night. And she liked the company. She can't believe that being pregnant is making her this crazy, aka the hormones. She feels like it could be something else. Not going to lie, it could be something else, but this just seems to be who Karen is. If you look at Karen across the entire series, for the most part, yeah, it's kind of like the hormones just brought more of yourself out to the surface. And she can't believe she keeps making a fool of herself. So basically from there, they kind of discuss their options. Like for one, Andy asks, so are you sure this is Zach's child? And Karen's like, look, I can't explain it, but I'm sure of it. It is Zach's. Right, sure, okay. Now from there, she asked about the Gary situation. What are you going to do? I can't believe he would do that. Well, you know what? I don't think it's that unbelievable from my perspective, Andy. So Andy's like, I don't know. Part of me has that voice inside my head that sounds like Danny saying, keep that shit, the penthouse and everything. And then, you know, Karen's like, use this opportunity to teach him a lesson or something like that. Basically, keep the penthouse for everything he did to you. And then she tries to make this like Zach was even worse than Gary. Like, you know, like the same way Zach, I did everything for Zach and this is how he repaid me. And then, you know, Andy wanted to say something, but then Karen was like, what? You know what? I should go to work. No, say what you were going to say. Zach paid you back all that money. Is it really just the money though that and then when Andy's like, well, he was transparent. You know what? I think you should go to work. Basically just Karen being like, look, okay, you've spoken as much truth as I want to hear, so I think you need to leave. That's the one thing about this friendship that just makes it so, yeah, these two are not the best of friends. It's just the fact that they really go to each other when they need to kind of hear sort of what they want to hear, but not the full-on truth. So if you just look at how Andy was, you know, well, listen to how she was talking about the Gary thing, season 5, she's probably going to get back with him or something. I don't know. It's just like, to me, Karen apparently feels like she's owed more than financial compensation for everything I've done for Zach. It's just weird because I'm fearing that in the finale, if she has some sort of miscarriage, she might try to blame that on Zach, and I think that's bullshit. This is all your fault. And like, how? All right, so after Andy leaves, we go over to Sabrina going into Danny's place, quote unquote, without knocking, even though she has a key. They have a speech about boundaries, yada, 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 despite the fact they barged in on Karen the other night. And she's still paranoid and worried about the Logan situation. Danny's like, hey, trust me, Hakuna Matata. If you ain't doing nothing shady, you ain't got nothing to worry about. And then Sabrina's like, well, maybe I should call Andy. Why? She's not a criminal lawyer. What is she going to do? Throw divorce papers at Logan? Trust me, everything is fine. Let's go to work. Sure. Okay, so brief to the point, Hayden goes into Fatima's office, and I'm like, but dude, didn't you get a restraining order? Why are you violating? Never mind. So he basically decides to, despite Fatima's please leave me alone response, detail his entire scheme involving his FCC pal, giving him clearance to look at airport database video footage of the senator's wife interacting with Zach, from riding his cart to Zach running off, coming back with her bag and getting a stock tip. And if everything breaks down, in terms of, or checks out, if everything checks out, then, he'll be arrested. And it's going to be something that, hey, I'm just letting you know, if the FCC comes for Zach, just know it was all me that did that. Why? This is just like when the vice president went to Hunter in the Oval and told him exactly what he was going to do before he did it. And I'm like, why don't you just do it and keep people wondering? But then again, I guess if you want to be funny about it, it's like, well, Jeremy, the last time that something happened to Zach and Fatima assumed he did it, she came over there with a baseball bat and he was allegedly innocent. But in this situation, the only good of this scene was the fact that I feel like it just further confirms that it wasn't Hayden behind the whole Heather Lee Jennings thing, because he's more set on making sure Zach gets locked up for good as opposed to getting a slap on the wrist due to child support, So when Fatima has a good laugh and tries to say, you know what, I tried to figure you out, was it a girl that rejected you in the past when you were younger? Were you bullied in school? Is this why you are the way you are with, small dick energy? You need to get a dick implant. And then Andy rolls in, which I thought was hilarious timing, by the way. And Hayden, bounces, and Andy tries to get to the bottom of what just happened. Did you talk about Zach? No, and I don't want to talk about it, but did you just tell that man to get a dick implant? But I will say this, regardless as to what was talked about, don't tell Zach, because I don't want to lose you again. And it's funny how the conversation kind of shifts gears to a more comedic but very, very accurate statement that Andy's dress is way too revealing for a professional setting. And she's like, I did it in case Robin. And I'm like, who cares if it's Robin, if he's going to come, which I doubt it, because didn't he get on a jet to leave town? You got your tatas out there for everybody to see it. And I mean, I don't know. This isn't the first revealing outfit Andy has worn that has you going, how the hell is this acceptable workplace attire? Okay, we go over to the salon. We got Karen coming in, and Pam lets her know there's a woman who won't tell me who she is or what she wants, but it's Heather Lee Jennings. Basically, she came by to quote-unquote apologize for the way she made it seem last night, like Zach wasn't in love with her at the time that he went over to the salon, the strip club to have sex with her. Basically saying, oh, he really loved you. I just didn't want to make it seem like he was over there wilding out. And Karen's like, what the hell are you talking about? The fact that you didn't want to make it seem like he was wilding out, but it's supposed to make me feel better that he was talking about me while he was at a strip club banging a stripper. And then she's like, yeah, I shouldn't have came over there last night when I did. I've been drinking a little. Wait. You were drinking and driving with your child? Don't judge me. I only drank a little, and you're lucky you ain't married to him, because I'm coming for that ass. So then she calls her a bitch. I came out of here with the goodness of my heart. Fine, bye. And from there, she kind of snaps at Pam, who knows about the baby mama stuff, I guess. But then from there, she gets on the phone, has a bit of a sassy attitude. I ain't gonna lie, sassy Pam. This was a great Pam scene. And then we go over to Maurice looking for his car keys. He snaps on cue. The keys are in his pocket. I kind of phased out of this scene. Basically, Maurice doesn't want the breakfast. Q's flirting with him. I'm not stupid. I know a snake when I see one miles away. Basically insinuating, hey, Q, I'm not an idiot. And then we know he's going to get arrested because he was an idiot. I don't got nothing to say about this scene. Maurice leaves for work. Apparently he's working a later shift today. Q gets on the phone with Logan, basically saying, yo, I got a tape of the confession. Logan's like, come by now. And, you know, when Q asks if he's not going to go to jail, Logan's like, look, you come by, you know, turn on the masterminds of the scheme of the bank robbery. If the evidence checks out, you'll be free to go, but you still got to meet with the DA who's going to give the final call as to whether or not you're going to be punished. So Q accepts that deal. Then the final scene is Zach going over to the hotel to meet with Tony. Tony invites him in, basically talks about the lawyer who asked a lot of questions about Zach, and she knows about his financial win, about the house. Zach assumes it's about money. Oh, wait, this is what you want so you can stay quiet. No, I'm not going to tell on you, Zach. I don't want the money. I want sex with you right here, right now. And the episode ends. So, yeah, this episode, meh. It wasn't awful, but it could have been better. Do you agree with my score of a 7 out of 10? What would you score the episode? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Were there certain elements of the episode I did not discuss that you wish I went into further detail about? Trust and believe, I did a lot of discussion videos today, and I still have a few more I'm saving for tomorrow. But with that being said, be sure to take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.